what happens when you mix intergalactic travel, circus freaks, and a weaponized popcorn gun? You get one of the greatest, weirdest cult classics of the 1980s.
Lost in a decade of screams and scares, we're digging up treasures that time.
Welcome to Rotting Reels Reviews, where I dig up the forgotten horrors that time tried to bury. I'm Bobby, and tonight we are talking about the neon-soaked absolute fever dream that is the 1988 classic, Killer Klowns from Outer Space.
Killer Klowns from Outer Space. Holy shit.
Let's get this out the way. A movie called Killer Klowns from Outer Space has no business being as good as it is. It sounds like a cheap, late-night gimmick, but the Chiodo Brothers delivered an absolute masterclass in practical effects and tone. This movie walks a razor-thin tightrope between genuinely unsettling horror and laugh-out-loud absurdity. The set design is incredible. Their spaceship looks like a funhouse designed by a madman.
Circus tent.
What's a circus tent doing all the way out here?
And the clowns themselves, they aren't just guys in cheap rubber masks. They are incredibly expressive, terrifying animatronic marvels. It's a B-movie that puts a smile on your face while secretly making you terrified of cotton candy. It is pure, unfiltered 80s magic. And to celebrate this absolute circus of a movie, I'm giving you 10 things you didn't know about Killer Klowns from Outer Space. Step right up. Number 10, the title change. The script was originally just titled Killer Klowns, but the filmmakers quickly realized that sounded like a gritty, realistic slasher film. Maybe a guy in a clown mask going on a rampage. To make sure audiences knew they were in for a wild sci-fi comedy ride, they tacked on From Outer Space as a nod to classic 1950s B-movies. Number 9, the Blind Rock Stars. The legendary punk band The Dickies wrote the iconic, insanely catchy theme song for the movie. But here's the crazy part. They wrote the entire song without seeing a single frame of the film. They just heard the title, said "Say No More," and delivered a masterpiece. Number 8, a comedian's off-screen demise. Famous stand-up comedian Christopher Titus actually made his very first acting debut in this movie. If you look closely at the beginning of the film, he plays Bob McReed, one of the classic 80s teenagers making out at the top of the world Lover's Lane right before the circus tent comet crashes to Earth. Unfortunately for Titus, it wasn't exactly a long-lived breakout role. After the clowns arrive, Bob gets captured and suffers a grim, off-screen death, presumably turned into a sugary, blood-filled cotton candy snack for the invaders. Number 7, the rotten popcorn. Those terrifying little popcorn monsters that spring to life? The crew used actual real popcorn to create the sets and props. After weeks under hot studio lights, the popcorn started to rot and the entire set smelled absolutely horrific. So yes, the actors' disgusted reactions? Probably 100% genuine. Number 6, a familiar furball. Here's a deep cut for you. The Chiodo Brothers, who directed and created the effects for this movie, also created the effects for a movie I just reviewed on this channel, Critters. In fact, to save money, they actually repurposed some of the internal animatronic skeletons from the Krites to build the Killer Klowns. Number 5, the indestructible balloon dog. During the scene where the clown uses a living balloon dog to track the main characters, they ran into a problem. The gravel and dirt kept popping the balloons. The solution? They coated the balloon dog in liquid latex so it could survive the rough terrain. Number 4, the DNA drink. When the clown is drinking blood out of the cotton candy cocoon using a crazy straw, pause the movie. That straw isn't just a random curly design, it's specifically shaped like a Watson-Crick double helix DNA strand. A brilliant little sci-fi detail hidden in plain sight. Number 3, Officer Mooney's hate for clowns. Legendary actor John Vernon played the grumpy clown-hating Officer Mooney. Apparently Vernon played the role a little too well. He stayed in character and was notoriously grumpy on set, completely bewildered by the giant rubber aliens walking around the studio.
Whoop the goddamn to do. What do we have here?
Number 2, Clownzilla was a family affair. At the climax of the film, we are introduced to Jojo the Clownzilla, an absolute behemoth of a monster. Because the suit was so massive and difficult to operate, director and effects creator Charles Chiodo actually stepped inside the suit himself to play the final boss. And number 1, the sequel that almost was. For decades, the Chiodo Brothers pitched a sequel called Return of the Killer Klowns from Outer Space in 3D, and later even pitched it as a TV series. And while those projects have been stuck in development hell forever, the franchise finally got new life as an asymmetrical multiplayer video game in 2024, proving you can't keep a good clown down. So there you have it. Proof that Killer Klowns from Outer Space is an absolute triumph of 80s practical effects and imagination. It's vibrant, it's vicious, and it's completely unforgettable. If you share my love for these practical effects masterpieces, smash that like button and subscribe to Rotten Reels for more buried horror gems, honest reviews, and secrets. I've got some massive videos coming up on Ghoulies, Night of the Creeps, and The Gate, so make sure your notifications are on. And comment below, what's your favorite killer gag from this movie? Until next time, keep your barns locked, your shotguns loaded, and your reels rotting. Sweet screams.
Subscribe to Rotting Reels. Subscribe to Rotting Reels.